welcome to the first edition of Reliability Expo, where we're going to review products by vendors and take a look at what functionality exists, give our opinion on how they operate and what the usability is, and just have some basic conversations around what we like, what we dislike. None of this is sponsored. We're certainly asking vendors to send us their products so we can do an independent review right here as part of the reliability experience on our YouTube page. And so let's get right into it. Our very first product is the Fluke ii900. Now, this is a visual ultrasound gun. We'll get to that in just a little bit. And as a matter of fact, we can kind of do that now. Let's take a look at what we got. So this is the Fluke ii900. It is listed as being a sonic industrial imager. And what that does is it uses sensors and a camera to marry the visual spectrum with ultrasound so that you can see air leaks on the screen. Now we're going to walk through this whole product, do an unboxing, all kinds of stuff. We'll get to that in just a second. But this is basically what that unit looks like. Let's see if it'll let us, it kind of lets us expand into it. So you can see it visually allows you to see an air leak. That's pretty cool technology. We'll have to take a look at it. We're going to run a test. We're going to do all kinds of things. So let's actually run through what it is we're going to be doing. So as part of today's Reliability Expo, what we're going to do is basically an unboxing. So we'll unbox the unit, show you what's inside of it, kind of discuss some of the things that are going on there. We'll take a look at the screen itself and look through the settings and options and discuss some of those. And the basic functionality, we're going to perform an actual test. So we're going to take an air compressor that I know to have a leak in a hose, and we're going to make that leak occur and see what we see in using the ii900. And then we'll go through some final thoughts. So it's not going to be extensively long, but we're going to run it, put it through its test, and let's take a look at how it operates. Let's see. So let's go back to their website and take a look at the unit before we do the unboxing. So there are some technical specifications on their webpage about the unit itself. So it talks about how many sensors. There's a total of 64 individual sensors. It talks about the frequency band being between 2,000 and 52,000 hertz, and gives you basic technical specifications around the video capture and formatting of both videos and images. All of this can be found right at Fluke's website. If you do a search for ii900, it'll come right up. You can download the manual from here as well. And take a look at some of the videos that they have associated with the unit itself. So you can play some of the videos they have right on the screen. So take a look at those and see whether or not this is an applicable tool for you. In the meantime, I guess no time like the present. Let's walk through an unboxing, and we'll come back to here after we get through the test and do some pros and cons. Alright, let's go through our initial unboxing and take a look at what's inside. So we've got our Fluke ii900 case sitting here. It's a very sturdy case. When we lift it up, immediately we see the unit itself staring right at us. So let's pull that out. Well constructed, very common for Fluke, nice bright yellow. You can't mistake exactly who makes this. It's got a handle to make sure you stay safe and can wield it well without it being too over bulky. There's also a cover over the sensors and camera. Let's put that back in place for now. Let's set the unit aside and see what else we got. So inside the case, we've also got two batteries. So there's a battery as well as a spare. So we've got two batteries here. We've got some safety instructions and a quick setup guide, it looks like, inside as well. Set those aside. We've got the charging base for the batteries. cable for the charging base, and the cable actually comes with all the different configurations for different countries. So not only US, but also throughout Europe, UK, EU, and God knows what else. It looks like you can plug it into pretty much anything. There's a, looks like a C cable. I'm going to guess that that's what, it's not micro USB, it's looks like a C type USB. So looks like a C type USB. Let's take a look at what the unit has itself. That's correct. So it is similar to your Android device, unless I got that wrong, but that's what it appears to be. And then we've got the transformer for the battery pack. And this looks like it's a shoulder strap. So there's a shoulder strap that you can adhere to this as well to make it easier to carry around. Additionally, there's an extra cover for the unit, which is always a good thing, because I know on my cameras the one thing I lose the most is a lens cover. So it's good to have a spare lens cover. So okay, so that's basically the unboxing. Now we'll take a look at some of the screen displays, and then we'll run through a test. Okay, so at this point we've unboxed the unit. Let's take a look at the screens and see if we can't find ourselves an air leak. So we've hit the power button. We're waiting for everything to load up. ii900 Sonic Industrial Imager. We've taken the cover off of the camera and sensors at this point, and we immediately get an image of our air compressor. And so let's take a look at what some of our options are on the screen. So if you tap anywhere on the screen, you'll see a list of options that come over on the left-hand side. They say image, which allows you to capture either an image or video. They allow you to look into the memory of the unit. They allow you to take a look at what your acoustic settings will be, choose different visual palettes, add markers to the screens. And then in the settings options, you've got either JPEG or PNG format for your video, MPEG-4 or MP4 for all, or for your video images, or JPEG or PNG. It allows you to pick your date and time and type. Allows you to display either the Fluke logo or none. Allows you to create localization in terms of how you'll manage decimal points, whether or not it's European or US. Restore everything to factory settings, and then gives you your basic information. Should you need any support and happen to call Fluke, this will give you your serial number and basic data. So if we get it out of there, we now are looking at our compressor and we don't see a leak. Now, notable on the right hand side of the screen, you can see the span settings. And in the span settings, you can reduce these as much as you want, or you can expand these to be as high as a 25 hertz range. And as you can see right now, I'm getting some kind of interference. I can reduce this down, and look, there's probably a really minor leak there, and it's probably bouncing in that direction off of this chair over here that you probably can't see, although you see it over here. So if I start reducing this down, let's make this smaller. I can see precisely where that leak is, and I can move it until it's barely visible. And I can tell there's something going on there and bouncing already, even though I haven't made it a significant leak yet. And when I move the span, it disappears. So now I'm going to go take my hose that I know has a bad crimp, and I'm going to put it in a direction that forces that leak. And we're going to see what the different results are. Alright, so now I know I've got a significant leak coming out of here, and I moved that span. Now you can see a dramatic difference in what we see up here, and even when I reduce that span to very minimal, it is pinpointing precisely where that leak is. There is no question where that leak is. All that other interference that we were seeing way out here, even when I expand, is now gone. And all I am looking at is a significant leak. Now, if I make that span really tiny, it's just going to say I've got noise everywhere, but I can make it tiny and pinpoint down to where I only see that individualized leak. And so I can take a snapshot here. Let's do that. Image, capture mode. So now I come here and I hit this green button and it saves my image. If I want to turn this to a video, again, I hit the green button and I'm now recording a video. And I can record the video moving side to side, so it's very simple to know where that leak is. And then I end it and I can hit save. And so it is now saved both an image and video, and I can easily show on my work order screen. Alright, that's our initial product demo. Okay, we're back to the board. Let's take a look at our results and see what came out of this. So here we have the photo. And let's do that. So here we have the photo that was taken showing very specifically. Let's do it like that, I think. Huh? You can see right here very specifically that we have a leak. Now there's some ranges here where we can kind of get an understanding of the hertz at which we're hearing that, and we can see what our span is. So we're somewhere around 55 decibels with our maximum sound there, or about where it sounds. Now what I don't know is how distance affects that. We didn't really get into all of the technical details of this tool. It's basically a product demo, so you'll have to read the technical specifications at their website to understand some of the impacts of distance and how turbulent the sound is versus being a laminar flow. So in this case, however, if I write a work order and I attach this photograph, it is extremely obvious where the leak is existing here. Now it's not going to tell you very specifically if it's at the connection or if it's at the crimp. When I know it's at the crimp, maybe I need to get a little closer, and I'm sure we could do that with the tool, keep this band nice and narrow, and it would pinpoint precisely where that leak is. We also took a video, so let's take a look at the video. We're not going to save that over the photo, and we are going to do what? We are going to minimize that. And go to the video. And so here we have the video. On the video you can see very clearly that there's some fluctuation going on here. And so obviously this is moving around on me a little bit because I'm changing my angles in the video, but again you see the leak in the exact same location. We can take a snapshot of this if we wanted to from the screen and save it and put it into the work order. But overall, it does a really nice job of taking a photograph and allowing it to be right in the work order and showing the precise location of the leak versus a big arrow going like this and saying leak is here. So it does a pretty good job of that. I'd say the clarity of the photograph and the video could use a little work. It's not quite, I will look at the technical specifications, but you know, it's maybe 1 or 2 megapixels. It doesn't look like much more than what a flip phone would have done. However, it's very early stage for this particular tool, and quite frankly, the clarity that is there is more than adequate to show that a leak exists and where the leak is. Okay, so I think up next we'll take a look at some pros and cons. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at some pros and cons based on our very short demonstration and unboxing and what we currently know about the tool itself. I'm sure I can get some additional feedback from Fluke in terms of what I may have gotten incorrect or correct. Let's figure that out in a moment. However, let's, all right, jazz hands. All right, let's take a look at some pros and cons. We'll take a look at the pros first. So first and foremost, ease of use. This tool was extremely easy to take right out of the box and put to use. The functionality was simple. The screens were simple. Menu options are very simple. You're essentially pointing at what your target is, and it's doing the work already. Very simple to change and adjust spans right on a touch screen, so no need to go into menu options. Very, very simple to use. This is a tool that, you put it in somebody's hand, and with very minimal training, they're out finding air leaks. It's visual, so a lot like some of the more newer tools that are out there that are starting to come out, that are taking a look at older technologies and now making them visual in some way, shape, or form. This falls in line with that. So it's extremely visual, and visual has a lot of benefits. An additional benefit here is, you can attach the photo to a work order. So once you find where the leak is, you can attach a photo right to the work order. Additionally, when you're trying to talk to senior leadership about all the benefits of the work that you're doing out in the field, pop-up books are nice and simple. And so they like pop-up books, put them up in front of them, very visual, and makes it very simple for folks to understand. And then our third point, of course, is that you can easily find the leak. So it takes much less time to pinpoint. If you are familiar with the use of ultrasound technologies, using an an audible device, you've got to essentially try to block out other noises, or not necessarily other noises, but the way they bounce off other objects. So when you hear a leak and it's in a manifold with a lot of fittings, that leak could be anywhere in that manifold and bouncing off, and you could be detecting it. And so you are trained to take an object and kind of make a barrier around different fittings so that you can pinpoint exactly where that leak is. With this particular tool, that's really easy to do. You narrow that span, and the other sounds that are bouncing will dissipate, and you won't see the spots jumping up and down. You'll get right down to where that fitting is and what leak it is. And so these are really significant. So we've got a couple of cons over here, but I want to kind of point out that ease of use is gigantic here, because you're putting this in the hands of folks and you want them to adopt the technology. So we're going to give this a double check mark, because ease of use is really critical. Being visual, this is another double check mark for me, because you can put it on the work order again, and you can essentially put it into your leadership reports that you're sending upstream, and this is a significant point. Once again, double check mark for the less time to pinpoint the leak. If you're looking at an awful large site or a campus style facility, the use of this tool is going to make very quick and easy work of going into a mechanical space, doing a quick scan, and getting down to pinpoint each and every leak that exists. So really significant positives. Let's take a look at some of our negatives here. Airborne only. So if you're looking for a tool that's doing both airborne and mechanical, this tool is not designed to do that. So it is an airborne only tool. It is looking for compressed gas leaks. And so, significantly, it's a focused area. So if you're looking for a tool for both, this isn't the right tool. But if you look for a tool very specifically for airborne ultrasound, this is doing the right thing. And this can, let's kind of take a look at some of this in a broader base. Let's say you get compressed gas deliveries, bottled deliveries. In milliseconds, this thing is going to tell you whether or not any of those tanks are leaking. And that's significant savings when you're talking about gases like helium and argon and things like that. Next con, new device. So it's a new device, new technology, and so there's always some risks there. I'd say that risk is mitigated with the Fluke name, however. It is a quality device. It feels like a quality device in your hand. It's got the Fluke name on it, and you know what their reputation is. So it's a minimal risk for me here. Airborne only, I think, this can be a negative if you're looking for both, but honestly, it is designed very specifically to do that. And so as long as you understand what the tool is used for and what it is supposed to be used for, I don't think it's really a negative. Camera quality. For me, this one is a little bit of an issue. I think they could have done a much better job with camera quality, and I would expect that future iterations of this tool are going to address that very easily. The fact that there's no audio. So this was a little bit of a surprise to me. There's no headphones, there's no audio, but honestly, you don't need it. It's a visual tool. I just think for me it was a shocker at first. You know, you unbox it, you're expecting to have some headphones, you're expecting the video to have some audio, and there was no audio in the video. I'll look up the user manual and make sure of that, but from what I could understand and what I saw, I didn't see any audio in the video itself. So no audio. So I'd say there's a couple of minor negatives. I'd say there's only one con that I would say is slightly significant, and that's camera quality. But the pros here are massive. Quick and easy to use, very visual, and really gets you down to exact fitting very quickly, much quicker than having to block out sound that's bouncing off other objects. So that's our pros and cons. This is our first attempt at a product review, so if you thought it was useful, let us know. We'll try to reach out and do some more of those. You can take a look at the rest of our YouTube videos under the Reliability Experience. Listen to our podcast called Practical Reliability. And that's about it for now. So for Reliability X, I'm George Williams. Go make tomorrow better than today. Hey folks, if you would like Joe and I to review your product in a demonstration, or for you to come on to Reliability Expo and give us a demo of your product, contact us via email at ask@reliabilityx.com. We'd be happy to have you and your product demonstrated here on Reliability Expo, go through pros and cons, give honest feedback, and educate those that are looking for solutions as to exactly what you offer.